A global oil supply deficit that stems from extended production cuts by Saudi Arabia and global geopolitical tensions drive oil producers to cast their eyes towards Africa. The need for energy, especially as the energy poverty gap in Africa widens, so does the need to increase production. The Angola Oil and Gas Conference for 2023 opened its doors to government officials, the private sector, regulators, and the local value chain to discuss the current oil and gas trends and what the future looks like for Africa.
And energy growth forward. Those who sit and say, Minister Diamantino, Minister Budimbu, our guys, Mark Sanster, Brusco, please bring us solar panels, which is okay. You understand that the key words in Angola and what you're going to see in the future is going to be base load. Base load, folks. We need that base load energy that is going to drive our future and is going to drive this country's industrial development, and it's going to drive jobs and create and extend humanity, because this industry, as we know it, has been the industry that has driven humanity, has driven civilization, and has driven us to be able to do the things that we do. And I'm not saying that when we talk about a transition in Angola, it would not work. It has to be on Angola's terms, but we have to and can never abandon that industry that is a source for growth. That's why we believe that this conference, more and more, it's important. Angola is no stranger to hydrocarbons. In fact, the nation has put skin in the game every time you've called on it. Since the 1950s, when it produced a lot of crude oil, it started producing crude oil. Today, it's either number one or number two, neck and neck with Nigeria. But there's still more. A lot still needs to happen. The country is taking steps to boost production with a goal of scaling up to 1.3 million barrels a day and stabilizing at that level, including attracting investment and new investors into new acreages. Additionally, perhaps more importantly, Angola is pursuing ambitious initiatives in natural gas. I like Angola's natural gas story. I think it's even going to be Angola's biggest story that is yet to be told. Let's keep in mind 27 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in this country, a largely untapped wealth and resource that offers a path towards employment, opportunities, a bridge towards an energy transition, but also an important component on rooting people out of energy poverty. Angola is just driving that. Last summer, we saw a new gas consortium created in this country, comprising Eni, Chevron's Angola's affiliates from Cabina Gulf Oil, Sonangol, BP, Total Energies, along with ANPG. They solidified plans to develop the Kuluma and Mabiquero natural gas fields at the lower Congo Basin, offshore Angola. That is something really unique that you still see these projects going. But we shouldn't forget the huge movements that are still happening around new natural gas projects. The Angola LNG project, it's going to move forward, and you're going to see movements around that. And think, while you're here today, don't hesitate to ask Minister Diamantino about it. I think he probably got something to say about that. So Angola has tripled its Cabinda gas plant, filling capacity of 3,000 to 12 kilograms gas cylinders, 700 megawatts in Soyo, too. Those are key things. The Falcon natural gas project in Soyo, but also that also helps in reducing imports and cutting fertilizer imports when we really need it, looking at the crisis that we see today in the Black Sea around Russia and Ukraine. ExxonMobil entered into an MOU to drill an exploration well in 2024 on the Angola offshore Namibia basins. You can trust Exxon when they go out to drill. They bring in some beautiful equipment, and believe you me, something amazing is going to happen at Namibia basin when Exxon goes there. Nobody does it so beautiful like they do, and we should be proud of them. Thank you, Melissa, for doing that.
Atualmente,
Currently, the energetic security is a part of the agenda of several countries, and it will be addressed through a energetic transition, and safe and secure. So for a very fair energetic transaction and equity, it's needed the commitment of all the energies that are done into place, either for the country, the producer countries, and so that they can continue on developing their resources to develop its growth and sustainable economic growth. In Africa, there are a lot of reserves that are proven, and it's also 7,000 millions of crude and 7,000 of natural gas. And on the other hand, this continent is having renewable energy sources like hydroelectric power, water electric, and solars and sonars. And so these resources, the African continent will contribute to reduce and mitigate poverty. That we can see currently that 600 million people in Africa are living with no source of energy. So that energetic security can be a factor in the reality, the continent needs to have a capacity to move and gather all the resources in order to explore all the energy sources on development and infrastructures as well. On a particular case for Angola, the energetic security and energetic safety is being done on the energetic matrix. For this cause, the government of Angola, apart from the hydroelectric project, has also been developing solar and photovoltaic projects, and so that can also be converted from diesel energy to gas. So Angola and its partners and with the joint ventures has also been driving a lot of actions to implement in the renewable energies. As an example, for the photovoltaic projects in the Karakul in Namib that was inaugurated, and Klemba in Willa that is ongoing. So Sonangol is also involved on researches to develop a product in green hydrogen, and its research center in Sumbe, Kwanza Sul, so that they can also make research linked to hydrocarbonates and renewable energies, and so that they make these energetic transactions. So, excellencies and the guests, distinguished guests, the government of Angola has been working hardly in order for overseeing and contracts in order that we improve the competitiveness and on the mid and downstream processes project. Our biggest challenge on the mid upstream project is the mitigation of the petrol, and also the focus on the government. The government currently is to improve, to maintain the oil production up to 100 million barrels to the next or to the coming years. So all these transactions that are happening, I'd like to mention the exploration, the developing areas, and also in the mature fields, and the concessions as well, and new tax terms or new fiscal terms on the marginal fields. And also to the long-term projects, the executive has also drafted a lot of other strategies to attract external investment to Angola. And this strategy on the hydrocarbonates is a goal to produce the geological knowledge and on the interior basins. The strategy on bidding on 2019 to 2025, it's like for more than 50 blocks, and these blocks that will be given the straight bidding to, and the legal frame to promote development on the oil sector is one of the examples of the instruments that were approved by the government along this last legislation.
It's an honor to participate in this high-level conference in the name of my republic, to reflect with other countries about especially with the producer of hydrocarbonates on the topic of the current conference, which is a topic that is internationally recognized. And talking about energy security, for me, it's an opportunity to see the natural resources and energy. This consists in giving resources to energy at a reasonable cost. This security depends highly, or not merely, on the available resources on the territory. And considering this angle and upon the leadership and clear leadership of President Tshisekedi, the president of RDC, one of the objectives of the Republic is to promote sustainable development that integrate environmental and social aspects in favor of the population from the resources that the country avails, including hydrocarbonates. And during this period, about decarbonization and a combination of measures that are implemented to limit decarbonization in the world, in our economies, and the countries that issue little gases with a greenhouse effect, and the global warming issue in the world, the Congo Republic and other members support the concept of energy transition. But it's important to mention that this transition, we should firstly obtain the energy. In our country, the resources of hydrocarbonate are seen at 4.5%. The bidding process for the attribution of our oil and gas blocks and gas were already issued, and the CPPs were celebrated last weekend. I would like to make use of this opportunity to invite the oil and gas companies internationally to participate before the closure of this process. This is by going to the RDC and required to participate so that they can participate in the creation of wealth for their population, considering all technological advance and considering the environmental factors to leverage their country.
After hearing thoughts from some of the respective ministers of Angola and the Democratic Republic of Congo, we took a walkabout on the exhibitor floor. Speaking to some of the bigger international oil producers, we found out how they view the future of oil in Africa, what technology they are using as part of the oil exploration strategy, and the potential of transitioning towards cleaner energy. Strategy and the potential of transitioning towards cleaner energy. Strategy and the potential of transitioning towards cleaner energy. Strategy and the potential of transitioning.
In Angola, we have still huge oil and gas and energy opportunities that has to continue because it is still the backbone for the country, and there are so many resources still to be opened. The transition can help, and will the decarbonization action activities and projects can help to make it sustainable. And I see the role in Angola to continue to provide the world with oil and gas, and the gas is still to be opened, while making it more sustainable through the decarbonization. Azul Energy right now is the first equity producer in Angola and one of the biggest partner of Angola in oil and gas energy energy project, but we were also the first partner in a private solar project that was the Caraculo project that started up earlier this year. So the project, the energy project beyond the oil and gas is an essential part of Azul Energy Foundation. With the MOU that we signed yesterday, it's a very important step because we are partnering with Sonangol, and in order to decarbonize and to help for Azul Energy to help the country to decarbonize and to make more viable the production of the hydrocarbons. Yesterday MOU is about new opportunities that have been some extension of opportunity in photovoltaic, but also searching for new opportunities on the wind, on the blue hydrogen. That is another way to give value to the gas production. And all other ideas that could help to make viable the decarbonization and to support the decarbonization. The key will be to find the right business model, because all the idea will have to be supported by some economics, and this is the key to make it very successful. But there are all the ingredients are there. We are starting to work, and as Azul Energy, to partnership with Sonangol, that is the biggest player in the country, is the key to be successful.
We have a very robust program here in Angola supporting ESG efforts with both our Block 15 operation as well as the ExxonMobil Foundation. Some critical pillars in that space are women and families, our healthcare, access to education, women's empowerment, and eradication of malaria, where we actually just celebrated 20 years of the fight against malaria in Angola here earlier this year. And through those various channels, we've invested more than $100 million in Angola and look forward to continuing to focus on these important efforts in the future. I think that there are all kinds of opportunities for us to continue to develop in Angola and in Africa, and I think that everyone can work together to be a part of the solution.
OPEC used the opportunity to also celebrate their 63 years of operation, marking a unique milestone, as OPEC called for cooperation and mutual respect among members. Local oil production companies in Angola also used this platform to announce deals, partnerships and MOUs to further increase Angola's oil and gas production. However, it was also noted that Africa's energy future does not solely lie with oil and gas.
One of the changes on the EITI report from the rule from 2019 to the new 2023, the new disclosures that will be required are in fact accommodating this energy transition. So this is something that will also impact Angola in this way. So Mr. Mutombo, I would like to ask you a final question. And taking into consideration what is the energy trilemma, so we have spoken about it. We have been talking about sustainable energy, which is one of the corners of this trilemma. But how do you think that this objective is achievable, taking into consideration the energy security? How can you guarantee energy security at the same way that you want the energy to be more sustainable?
Yeah, thank you. This brings us to the theme of this conference at the end of the day, energy security, which is at the center of all the debate nowadays, and it's very important. When we've been talking about energy, it means we need to meet the demand of today with a very environmentally respectful barrels. That's what we are doing, try to make sure that the demand, the energy demand of today is being met through our operation. We are doing all our best to reduce our emission so that we are meeting without jeopardizing the future. And then all our companies are in this trend of transitioning to new energy, renewables. We are doing the same. We have launched a project on the solar in the south area of Angola in Lubango. That's the way of preparing the future in this transition, while at the same time we are still trying to meet the energy demand of all our growing population today. But we are doing so really by respecting environment. Just to give you another example, at Total we are trying to make sure that we are going to have in all our installation the closed flare. We are going to eliminate 100% of our flarings in all our operations. The project is being launched. One of the FPSO, 3 of them are already in a closed freight system, and we are making modification on existing installations so that we can eliminate all the flaring. We are thinking about connecting the cables with our FPSO so that we optimize the use of energy. We are working on liquid diesel, on the use of all our boats. So all those efforts are made really to make sure that we are meeting the today demands while really respecting the environment. At the same time, all our company, it was the case of ours, we changed our names to show really that we are moving toward this transition, preparing the future at the same time, meeting the demand of today. So this trilemma is possible, and oil and gas industry is part of the solution.
I mean, the ESG conversation is one that is very topical, and also one, as you rightly point out, that is really important for not just investors, but also for lenders. Because as lenders, it's really important that any funding that we deploy is deployed into projects that are environmentally and socially responsible in terms of their practices. So in the case of Angola, it's really important as investors start to build these energy-related infrastructure projects that they comply with global environmental and social standards. And one of the ways in which compliance is generally measured when we have a lending client relationship is through the need to have an environmental impact assessment done before the project is undertaken. And this environmental impact assessment, or EIA, will basically look at potential risks and their impact on the environment before the project is implemented. So it would look at the impact on water and air quality. It would look at the impact of biodiversity and local ecosystems. In addition, you will find that lenders will generally try to promote the implementation of environmentally friendly power sources. So you will find that lenders might be able to incentivize project promoters through maybe concessional type interest rates to source their energy through maybe solar energy or hydro power or wind-driven or wind-generated power activities or options. And the EIA basically serves as a guide for infrastructure projects, and it will help them in the design and implementation of that project. And I know that usually when we talk about ESG, there's a lot of emphasis on the environmental impact, and we sometimes tend to overlook the S and the G. And to me, the S actually is really, really important when it comes to implementation of these types of projects. So when promoters are, building infrastructure projects in the energy sector, it's also important to ensure that the local communities are engaged before the project is implemented. So lenders will look at that. And it's important that their concerns are actually heard and their concerns are part of the decision-making process when it comes to implementing that project.
Circular economy principles are gaining traction as a means to drive sustainable development. How can service companies in the oil and gas sector promote circular practices, resource efficiency, and waste reduction, while at the same time ensuring operational efficiency and cost effectiveness for the clients? Who want to handle that one?
I can take that one.
Thank you, George. Go ahead.
So on the circular economy, well, first of all, let me start. CAESO is a different breed of company compared to the ones that are represented here in this panel. We are actually a 100% local company, and we are, in that sense, much smaller than the ones that are represented here. But still, we can participate in reducing CO2 emissions and participate in the circular economy as well. One of the things that we do, for example, is that we have a service that basically manages the life cycle of equipment. which means basically that instead of basically stopping an equipment to work at its normal life cycle, we actually extend its life through different maintenance programs. This is one of the things that we do. The other thing that we focus on is, for example, identifying assets that are being underused and that can be rented or sold to other people than the owner that are underusing them. The third aspect that is very important for us as well is everything that is linked to recycling of equipment. Once an equipment reaches the end of its life, one of the things that we do is approach our clients and actually propose solutions to recycle the assets that are at no usage for them anymore. So this is one of the things that, that we do to participate in this circular economy.
Insofar as local content is concerned, we are very excited about, for example, the exclusivity regime, because it drives clarity, it drives contractual clarity. And when you have contractual clarity, and you have local companies like CAESA who really take ownership of what they want to do, and we have a few other examples, then we are happy to be behind supporting our subcontractors, but they are leading. They're taking charge and control of their own destiny. They are managing their own business, right? And I think that that's something that we are excited about, and we work with a number of local companies to deliver those services, actually to support them in delivering those services, right? They are leading, it's their business, they control it. We provide a little bit of technical support. We provide training, we provide development for them, but in the end, they're taking responsibility for their own destiny, right? And that's something that we are excited about, mostly because there is a very clear and accountable framework, right?
Yeah, those are very important and encouraging initiative. I think here the key is communication. The small companies need to communicate with the bigger one, the operators, as we say, uma mão lava a outra, so nobody can do it alone. And then you use technology and so on. As long as you communicate, you see an opportunity, you raise it up to the big boys, the big operators, and they will work with you, and all of us, we're going to grow together.
Some key thoughts departed by governments and regulators are that oil and gas plays a significant role in providing energy, especially to those who have little to no access. However, it would be a remiss not to invest in the future in the form of renewable energy.